Hi everyone, in this video we're going to talk about using Zoom from a student perspective. So to start, we're going to go over how you can log into the Wagner Zoom web portal by signing in with your Wagner credentials. Now you have to make sure that you log into this website at least once so that way you validate your Wagner account. So we're going to go to wagner.zoom.us and I'm in Google Chrome right now. The best browsers to use for Zoom would be either Google Chrome or Firefox. That's not to say that you can't use other browsers, it's just that Chrome and Firefox seem to have the best outcome when using Zoom. So we're in Chrome, we're at wagner.zoom.us, and I'm going to click on Sign In. And you're going to be taken to this authentication page where you're going to put your All Access Pass, which is the same information that you would use to access your Wagner email. I'm going to click Login and it automatically takes me to my profile here in the web portal. So we're mostly going to be concerned with the meetings tab here on the left-hand side. And you can see that you have a meeting that's already been planned. And you also have, you could see your upcoming meetings here, previous meetings in this tab, and your personal meeting room. Your personal meeting room is a place for you to have an instant meeting where you don't have to schedule anything. So if I click on personal meeting room, you'll see that there's a meeting ID associated with this room and an invite link as well that's associated with it. And the meeting ID and the invite link never change. So once you give out that information, participants will always be able to find you in your personal room. And to start that meeting instantly, you would just click on Start Meeting. Here under Upcoming Meetings, this is where we want to be though if we're going to schedule a new meeting. So we're going to click Schedule a New Meeting. And I'm going to keep the topic here as the same. I'm not going to change the name, but you could put the title of whatever your meeting is. Under when, you're going to put the date and the time in which the session is going to happen. So if I click on the little calendar here, maybe I want to have this meeting tomorrow at 3 p.m. I can do that. And the duration here is how long your meeting is going to take place. Now you can see that there's this orange box here that is telling you that with your plan as a student, you have a basic plan. So that means if you're meeting with 3 or more participants, you have a 40-minute time limit on those meetings. So just make sure you take that into consideration when you are planning your session. If this is going to be a meeting that's happening every week at the same time, you can create a recurring meeting by clicking on the little checkbox here, and you can then set the pattern for that recurrence. So if it's going to happen every week at the same time, you can just change this from daily to weekly. And then you can choose when it occurs on, and you'll want to choose an end date or however many meetings are going to happen. Basically, a recurring meeting allows you to use the same link until this date or however many occurrences you mark here. We're not going to do that for this tutorial, but you do have that option if you choose to do so. Under meeting ID, if you generate it automatically, that means you want to have a unique meeting ID for every single session you are creating. If you want to schedule this meeting in your personal room, you can choose to click the button here, and that will schedule it in your personal room. Here under security, you do not have the option of not having a password. You have to have a password with every session, but you can change what that password is. If you choose to, you can click on right inside the box here and change the password to whatever you wish. Under video, by default, it's marked as off, and all that means is that the host and the participant of this meeting have control over when they decide to put their camera on and when they decide to shut their camera off. The meeting will not begin and then the video goes on instantly with this setting. So if you have it off, you can choose when you turn your camera on or off. Under audio, leave this one as both. This way your participants have the ability to either connect with their computer audio or their telephone if they don't have a microphone or a speaker at that point that they can't from their computer. There are a few other meeting options you can take a look at here. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory, and if they are applicable to you, you can select these settings for your session. So when you're done, you're just going to click on Save, and now you see that your meeting has been created. It gives you the invite link here. If you were to click on Copy Invitation, you'd have everything, including the Zoom link, and you'd also have the meeting ID and the passcode. If you share the link with someone, they should not need the meeting ID or the passcode because that passcode is embedded in the link already. But if someone tried to connect to it using just the meeting ID, the passcode would be required. So you might want to send that invitation along. Now you can copy this meeting invitation here and then paste it inside of an email or however else you're going to get that information along to your participants. You can also click on Google Calendar and it will automatically go over to your Google Calendar where you can invite guests from there as well. Now that we have a meeting scheduled, if we click on meetings here, you'll be able to see all of the upcoming meetings that you have. And when you're ready to start that meeting for all of your participants, you could just click on start in here. Now, another way that you can schedule a meeting and also access all of your planned meetings is by using the Zoom desktop client. The desktop client is automatically downloaded for you when you start a Zoom session or when you participate in a Zoom session. So if you have done either of those things before seeing this video, the desktop client is already installed on your computer and can be found where all of the programs on your computer are kept. So I have the Zoom client here. Right now, I am not signed into it. I logged out of it specifically to show you. So if you're joining a meeting, you can click here and put in that ID and it would require the password, but you can also sign in by clicking on sign in. And for your Wagner account, you're going to want to choose sign in with SSO and you'll put our domain, which is wagner.zoom.us, and press continue. And you'll be asked to put in your Zoom credentials. So if we want to press allow, we could press allow, and that will then open up our Zoom client, which looks like this. So you can see in the upper right-hand corner, these are our initials that we have for this account, and you'll know that you're logged in correctly if you click on there and you see your @wagner.edu account. Now, if you have a personal Zoom account as well, it's important for you to make sure you check before you are going to participate in any classes that you're logged in with your Wagner account, so that way everything is authenticated and you and your teachers know that it's you and it's not a personal account. In order for you to sign out from here, you would just click on sign out and then you can sign in using your Wagner account if you were signed in with the personal account. So we're not going to go too much into this desktop application. You can pretty much do the same things that you would normally do in the web portal that you can do here in the desktop app. And you can schedule a meeting by clicking on schedule, and you can put in all that same information here. You can also start a new meeting, an instant meeting here. And if you wanted to start an instant meeting in your personal room, you can click on the little arrow that's pointing downward and choose the personal meeting ID that's selected for you. You can also view any of the meetings that you've scheduled as well by clicking on meetings, and they would show up here. And you can start those meetings from here as well by clicking on the meeting and pressing start. Now, if by any chance you have not participated in a Zoom session or facilitated a Zoom session before now, and you don't want to wait until your first session to download your client, you can do that by just going to our web portal here. So we're going to click back into our web portal, and I'm going to click here, and we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom under download. If you click on Meetings Client, it will take you to this page where you could download the Zoom client for meetings. Now, I use this example because we are inside of the Zoom portal and it was easy for me to just scroll down and show you. But if you just go to zoom.us, you'll be able to find the Zoom client in the same section at the bottom under Download and Meetings Client. So now that you know how to schedule a meeting on your own, I want to show you how you can join a meeting. Now, for the most part, your teachers will probably ask you to join a meeting by selecting a specific link that they provide for you. Right now, I'm going to use the example of a Moodle course because most of your professors will probably have it on the Moodle page for you to access. So in this case, I am logged in as my student here, and I can see here that the professor has provided the class Zoom link for me on the page. If I go ahead and I click class Zoom link, it should automatically take me to my Zoom meeting that's already started. So once we click openzoom.us, it should open up our meeting and let us join the meeting here. So what you're looking at here right now is something called the waiting room. And basically what that means is that the host has set up this meeting to allow for a waiting room to be set up, and they will admit the students when they are ready to admit them. I wanted to show you what this looked like in case you came across this. So right now it's saying the meeting host will let you in soon, and in the meantime you can test your speaker and your microphone if you wish, and it'll make sure you're all set up. It'll check whether you can hear and whether you can speak while you're waiting for the host to let you in. Once the host lets you in, you'll be able to then see how it will connect, and it should load the page for you. So now the first thing that you see when you are joining a session is a really important thing, and that's going to be choosing your audio conference options. So you're going to want to join with computer audio, and again, you can test your speaker and your microphone as well. So if you click join with computer audio, it should automatically connect you to the session's audio. So if you look here at the bottom, you have a few tools that you can look at. The very first one is your audio. Since we connected to audio, you can see there is no red line through it. So we are currently connected to our audio source. And if we click on the little arrow here, we'll be able to see what different microphones and speakers we're using. So let's say, for example, you are using a headset, but Zoom did not pick up that you wanted to use your headset to speak. You want to make sure that the right microphone and the right speaker are selected. It does happen from time to time where if for some reason someone can't hear you, that you have the wrong microphone connected. So you just want to make sure that you have the right thing connected. And this is that option here for you to test your speaker and your microphone as well. So the next thing you'll see here is the camera, and it has a red line through it, which means that right now you are not sharing your video. You have the option of sharing your video when you're ready to by clicking on the little camera button there. If you wanted to choose a virtual background or you wanted to check what your background looked like before you shared yourself, you can click on video settings and it will show a picture of yourself there. And if you're happy with the background and everything that is showing, you can just X out and start sharing your video. Now you can also choose a virtual background as well, which is very popular by pressing choose virtual background, and you can choose any of the virtual backgrounds that they have selected for you there. Right now we're going to not put a virtual background, but you can if you choose to. So we're going to choose to keep our video off, but you can turn that on whenever you're ready to. Here under participants, this is how you're going to see who is in your session. So right now, if you click on here, we can see that there are two participants, one which is the host and one which is you as the student. You have some nonverbal cues here that you can use if you want to communicate with your professor. So maybe if they have you muted for whatever reason, you can raise your hand if you have a question, and they can choose whether to lower that hand after they answer the question, or you can as well. And you can also mute yourself as well if you choose to. Another feature that I want to tell you about is the chat here. If you go ahead and you click on that, you have the option of chatting to everyone. So if you sent everyone a chat, you can say, "Hi, everyone," and that would send a public message to everybody that is included in the session. And if your professor allows you to, you can also choose to privately chat with one other person. So if you wanted to send a chat to the host, you can just choose that person and privately send a message that way. Or you could choose another person in the session, again, if the professor gives the permission for you to chat with others besides the host. Another option that you have here at the bottom is to record, but you'll notice if you click on that, you have to ask for permission from the host. That is not something that you're going to have by default to record the session. One other thing I want to say about this is your teacher may or may not give you the ability to share your screen. If they do give you the ability to share your screen, you'll be able to click share screen and it will give you all of the screens that are there to share. At this point, the host has disabled screen sharing, so you are not able to do that. But if they do give you that permission, if you click on share screen, you would just click the screen you want to share and do it that way. Now, one other thing that I want to go over with you now that we've gone over the buttons here at the bottom is a little bit about the participation aspect of it. So right now, the professor that you are looking at has decided to share a whiteboard with the students, which means that anything that they draw or they type, you will be able to see. So if they say hi class or hello class, you'll be able to see what they write to you. Now, there are certain circumstances where a professor might give the ability to annotate on content like this. So maybe you are in a math class and they're giving an equation and you have to solve that equation. They may give you the ability to annotate on a whiteboard. If you have that ability and you're able to do that, you would get to your toolbar by clicking on View Options at the top here and choosing Annotate, and that will give you your own annotation toolbar where you can then also draw, or you can make shapes or stamps or anything that you're asking. And normally these are not things that they're going to ask you to do. I'm just showing you how you can do that. If you are not giving the ability to annotate, it'll give you a notification that you're not able to do that. So now we're going to get out of this portion of it. I'm going to have the professor stop sharing the screen with you for the shared content. And now you are on the main portion of Zoom, where if there were videos here, you could be chatting back and forth to each other. I'm going to exit full screen as well, and you're basically now back in the session. So if you wanted to see any of the meeting information, you can view that up here, and you can also view this in full screen if you wish. So at the bottom here, I just want to show you one last thing, and that's going to be how you leave a meeting. So if your professor ends the meeting for everyone, the meeting will automatically just end. If you have to leave the meeting for whatever reason, you can click on Leave and Leave Meeting, and that will have you leave the meeting that way. I hope that this was a useful tutorial for you in terms of getting started with Zoom.